Welcome, Center of Light Radio. Keith Anthony Blanchard here. Yanava. Welcome, my dear friends, my tribe. Yah, heart, God, will. Na, the mind, balanced. No more monkey. Reasoning, discernment. Proper, right judgment. So we do it right the first time. This is how we judge correctly. And Va, the backbone. Yanava. It is the sacred seed syllables of the ancient self, your soul. Welcome to Center of Light. I'm hanging out with a dear friend, record producer, spiritual teacher, movie maker, dear friend, sexy man. He bumped his sexy head before he got here, and I'm sure he's going to tell us. My brother, how are you, dear friend?
I don't need to tell you about my Lucille Ball moments. I sometimes have these, silly stuff. Yeah.
You doing well today, sir?
Well, as you know, everybody that's kind of blocked off right now, you can look at it two ways, that yum or the yuck. You can look at it that, it's horrible and I can't see all my friends, or you can go inward. Instead of you can't go out, you might as well go in. And so this is a chance you can actually listen, you can actually talk to people. I've had people call me that I haven't talked to for 20 years. And so it's actually turned into a better thing. I've made really good old connections return, and I've gone in and had some quiet time, and I consider it more like an artist in residence. It's my time to where I actually can focus on projects. I've been checking them off. Little projects that have been sitting around for 30 years on, oh, one day I'm going to do this. Well, you stick it in a closet, and now I'm doing that. Have you done any of those? Like, have you organized, have you alphabetized your sock drawer yet?
No.
You'll get to it. Wait about 2 weeks.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, yeah.
How you doing, bro?
Well, things are okay. I mean, I just try to stay positive. Try to stay on the good side of.
I love your intro. I think it set a beautiful tone. In fact,
Yeah.
it's not about just being positive. What you said, I think, and on your entry was even beyond positive. It laid down a beautiful groundwork, which is, we can look at, like you said, the yum or the yuck, and the fact of the matter remains, and whatever one you lean into is what will remain for you. And we were in the radio green room, and you simply asked me sort of the same kind of question. What have you been doing? And I said, Eden Sky, my son and I are getting close, and he's coming out and he's saying things. He's 14, actually going on 15, so puberty's banging on his door, and he's just being an angelic cherub of a boy and starting to reveal his vulnerability.
Uh-oh, what's that like?
It's beautiful to watch. He's just saying, and it's not that he's like coming out and saying all these words. It's just, I finally asked him a particular question about some of his dialogue with some of his friends, and he just didn't hold back and he spoke his mind. And I was like, wow, that's different. And so I acknowledged him for it so he can feel like a pat on the back. Oh, my dad actually likes this. Oh, I get attention. Yeah, absolutely. So I see the beauty in it. I don't mind not working. I am playing. I'm actually, Brian, I'm truly in a space of trust. That world is bitching about an idea. I get it. I'd rather know there's a dog waiting behind a tree to bite my ass than not. So I get it. So I take that in. Something stinks. I'm not interested in the stink. I want to move back to the flower. I want to smell the flower. And I think in this moment for all of us, it's truly a time for self-reflection, because when they do open up the doors and let us back out, I think we're going to have shifted to a level of deeper respect, almost like to the level of speak to everyone as if it's the last time you're going to see them. I think we're going to find that place. You know what I'm saying? I think
agree.
that's part of this unfoldment. Are we looking at the peanut butter in the peanut butter jar or the diamond that's way inside? Because every peanut butter jar has a diamond. You have to keep digging. You have to go into the billion-year-old self, the carbon that fashioned such a jewel, ourselves.
Mm. Well, I've got some peanut butter here, and actually it's
Put it on your bobo.
butter.
Put
Do
it
you
on your
think
bobo.
is hold true for organic sunflower seed butter? Are there
What was the
diamonds in there?
question?
Are there diamonds in there? Uh-oh,
Well,
did I lose him?
yeah, there's diamonds in there, bro. I mean, 2 hours from now, that peanut butter or sunflower seed oil, whatever stuff mix concoction you're eating, is going to turn into a human being. It doesn't simply stay what it is. I mean, you actually are an alchemist and didn't even realize it. So you're transforming it into this diamond that we know as Brian David Hardin, everyone, my dear friend hanging out tonight. We're sitting here talking about not the problems in the world. We may bring up a problem, nameless, of course, only so we can involve a solution. But I think what you started off on is a beautiful idea. The platform that we're going to launch our time together, which is what is the beauty that's happening? Because, Brian, I often say every time something stanky really happens, something equally as fragrant happens. And this is the game until we get to the level of the true gamer. But until then, yes, I see this happening in the world as something happening within us that gives us all the ability to truly understand, recognize, appreciate, and move to another level. I do.
And I'm glad you used the word appreciation because so many of us look at things like money is the big deal. That's what we need, money, 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 money. Well, they say money appreciates, but there's nothing like human appreciation. And a lot of times the reason you do things, anybody does anything. Like if you and I were in the same room together and I saw you were thirsty, I'd go run and get your water. Well, the reason I'm going to go get your water is because I want to share with you some gift, and I want to actually have a thank you, have some level of appreciation at the end of that. So by communicating, collaborating, cooperating, all the co-words, that's two. By connecting, by all those, you are seeking some level of love and appreciation, and you want that. And so a lot of times we make these weird habits. We're so busy trying to make money or whatever else, get power, that we forget to say thank you, to have gratitude in our lives for each other. And ultimately, the reason people do things with you or for you is to be appreciated, to be loved themselves. And so they say every every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And so if you give love, you certainly should get it back, and you should get that appreciation. And so it's the people that don't give that appreciation, that's when they get further and further. Everybody steps a couple feet away because they're not getting back what they give. And so, love one another. That was Jesus's simple message. And so many of us just kind of forget about that. We in every
Brian, I love it. I just love it. The theme of what's happening in the world.
Mhm.
The theme falls right back in the heart and right back in our lap. It's communication, cooperation, all the co-words. Your co-worker, your co-lover in life. It's about the human interaction. Look, I love these gadgets. I love the gadget you and I are playing with right now. I love this gadget. I freaking love this gadget. And it's cool. There's nothing wrong with the gadget. But I think it gouged out our humanity. Truly, when you're shaking someone's hand versus, being a cold fish, grabbing someone and saying, how are you? And that sounds, no, it has a monumental effect. Brian, I mentioned this probably in you and I's interview or however many years ago. I sort of remember the scenario. But I mentioned that when I meet someone, I find something that is so freaking beautiful, be it their dialect because they're from another country, their eyes, their physique, guy or girl. Their physique meaning something about them that truly sparkles and they are full of themselves in it, right? And when I begin to hyper-focus and hyper-fix on that experience that person is expressing so naturally, they don't even know they're doing it. That's just what they are. I literally see God step out of them right in front of my face. And then because of such a hyper-focus, that is my experience of that person and mine alone. And other people around the table may not like them because they're insecure or jealous, or they may even think that person's an asshole. But that's not my experience. And so if we collectively find this place and begin to operate from this premise with everyone, being human again, being able to namaste, namaskar, seeing the light in other people, I think we're going to do pretty well. And I think this gives us our best chance. Actually, so much so more than anything has ever happened until this date.
When you said seeing God in everything, I mean, that's really the key. And how did you get to see God in everything? Because that, not that doesn't come naturally to everybody, at least the adults. I guess maybe as children, they see God in everything. But then we get taught how we're think. You are what you think. You are what you think. And you get caught up in comparison and judgment and whatever else, and you lose that ability to see God in everything. I mean, children have that innocence, but how do you get it back? That's an interesting question. How do you get it back? Or how did you get it back?
This is how I did it, and I think because it worked. If it works, then it means it's a law for anyone to be able to do it, which is you won't have it at first, but you have to want a something. Because if you already had it, your life would be awesome. But you don't have it. So you have to have a wanting of a something. And you may not know how to get it, but that wanting is the absolute 50% mark, because it brings you front and center of what it is you are requesting. And then once you experience it and know that because of your application of searching and said principle, you want more of it. It becomes your God smack, if you will. You yearn for it. You burn for it. You earn for it. And it requires a person to invest. That's the true stock market. That's when the stocks really, really go up. So the way I did it, Brian, is seeing God in everything is because I've realized, this pales in comparison to try to use words to describe the it of it all, is I realized that joy is evidence of the presence of God. So any area of my life I am not having joy, I am truly resisting the current that so naturally is there, and I'm the only one causing trouble. I'm the only one causing waves to see the grace and the beauty that put us all in this place today of where we are. So that's how I did it. I just began to realize that there's only one source. There's only one generator. And what is moving about in the world, we can call them good, bad, beautiful, terrible, and all these things. And this is the arena we are playing in. So they have their function. But when do we get out of that? When do we stop the game and move into the new game? And stepping so far back as an observer, because it's our involvement that brought us to this level of trouble. So when we let things be as they are, how does that change things in the world? Perspective, perception creates reality. So we become the greatest influence when we learn to just see and not always. It's by human nature, Brian. We want to be involved. That's part of being human. We want to be in the game. But do we truly want something higher? I think we've put it in the right context. We've become so human. We screwed it all up.
Can I add to that?
Please.
Because I agree with all that. It's fantastic. So here is my notes, some of my notes. They go on and on. But this is some of my notes for the chakra system. And what happens is you have this lower chakra, and that's the root. And there are 4 words for that right here: flexibility, transformation, coherence, and stability. So when I meditate, I speak those to myself, and then I see what comes up. And then the next one's up. Oh, sorry about this. They're coming to get me.
It's a fact. I love it, bro. It's a draw.
Right? Coming to get me. Purity, nourishment, charm, and merging are the next ones up. But this is the one I really want to talk about. This is at your solar plexus, which is right there where your ribs separate. It's right there at that's solar plexus, and that area. I mean, a lot of times we call it gut instinct. I got a gut instinct. Well, this is where desire, intention, will, and destiny all lie. Desire, intention, will, and destiny lie in that little spot. And that's actually really cool. I'm going to go talk about these others, but let me stay here for a minute. Desire, intention, will, and destiny. And so what happens with that is, it sounds all hoity-toity, but then I was speaking with this friend of mine who's a really strong Christian. I was trying to tell him about the chakra system, and he said, yeah, we have that in Christianity. And I've said the same prayer he's going to tell me about a million times, and I never realized it. He said, "Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven." So the kingdom that you desire, what you said was realize, what becomes realize. You create reality out of desiring something first and having a clear desire. I desire this, but there's got to be something behind that, which is your intention for why that has to be clear. If your intention has to do with ego, like, oh, I want this radical blah 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 because it'll, bring my ego more, crap, then it might not bring it to you in the right way. So your desire has to be clear, your intention has to be clear, your will to do it has to be strong. So this is where most people give up. Oh yeah, I want that CEO job, but every day instead of working towards that CEO job, or I want to be the rock star or whatever, they never practice their guitar. They talk about it. They go to the bars and drink and talk about it, but they don't go play their guitar. They don't write the songs. They don't practice, And so your will to do it has to be there, and then it becomes destiny. And this is where manifestation lies. And the problem with most people these days is, if you turn on the internet and look at anything about manifestation, there's plenty of guys out there that you just sign up to my $2,000 course and I'll tell you all about manifestation. And it's all about what you think. It's all about what you think. It's about what you think. All you have to do is think it. They're missing it. They're missing it huge, because our body feels things. Our mind thinks things. So you're thinking things, and you're thinking you're going to wholly manifest things. No, you've got to also feel things for that to be true. And
I think that's the greatest component.
And then
Because
your spirit.
please continue. Please continue.
That's the missing, but the spiritual component is a level of belief. Let me see if I can find a page that'll explain this pretty quick. Oh, here we go. Here's one. Now I put this all-seeing eye on here, and before I really understood that it's been co-opted by some crazy stuff. But here is belief. This is the spirit. Belief. And then over here is the body. This is feeling, heart, instinct, intuition, feeling. And then over here is your mind, intellect, knowledge, think, feel, believe. Think, feel, believe. Now check this out. What you believe can change the way you feel, can change the way you think. What you think can change the way you feel, your body feels, and then your spirit believes differently. So your belief. So now here, the real trick with that belief is that's your spirit. And most people don't quiet their mind and listen to their spirit. We're also caught up with other stuff that we don't listen to our spirit. And what our spirit's really seeking is something for its growth. Your spirit doesn't care how rich you are. Your spirit cares to learn lessons. Your spirit happens to be, it's not like we're a body who happens to have a spirit. We are a spirit that happens to have a body at the moment. The spirit is eternal. And your spirit came into this body this body that's called Brian, or your body that's called Keith, or anybody else's body. Your spirit popped in for very specific needs. And it wants, if it's got problems like bad relationships and alcoholic parents and bad habits and you're fat or whatever else, or even you're disabled or whatever that is, there's different levels of things to overcome. And when your spirit chooses that body or that situation, the choice is because there's lessons tied to that. And your spirit seeks problems so
Let me
that
ask you
you
this,
learn
Brian.
lessons.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I
Yeah,
do. You said something that is worthy of a question.
yeah.
Your spirit seeks growth. There are lessons. Lessons for what? What is that goal that spirit seeks the lessons for, and growth towards a what? That's
I
not putting it in a box. That
Good.
gives us an idea of what this is really for.
So think about this. Um,
Take a breath,
um,
bro. Channel it.
every living thing, every little thing desires to not only grow, not only remain alive, not only to grow, but also to leave behind its lineage and leave behind something for the next generation or whatever future generations, right? And this goes for ants and the ant hills and the bees and the birds and the dolphins and the whales and whatever else, all the critters, anything, even the plants, they're all growing to try to continue. And so there's your yum. It's create. We're creating, and we're creating for the good of and balance of it all, right? So create, and the other one's destroy, yuck, right? So with our spirit, it's the same way. Your spirit wants to learn lessons. Your spirit is your connection to God. So whenever we say, oh, here I wrote this earlier. This is fantastic. Where is that page? Um, uh,
By
Here.
the way, brother,
The,
I just want to let you know that chart, listen to me,
yeah,
because you love me.
yeah,
That chart you laid out a minute ago was
yeah.
really, really powerful. I can actually see that as a demonstration of law,
Mhm.
truth, principle. I just love the fact that you gave it three sides. It was triangular, and they all influence each other. Even though there's a greater capacity that we are beyond the triangle itself, the center point, because the center point is what gives rise and or perspective to the triangle. But if we're living outside, to use that word purposefully, outside of the quote I, the central point, the singularity, then we allow those 3 points to always influence us. We become slaves. In other words, you said one thing can influence the other, and you might have this one right and this one right, but then it starts to bleed over, take over, in fact. Or am I missing the point of this diagram at all?
No, it's
Or
fantastic. In fact, what happens is like here's the body, the mind, and the spirit. Body, mind, spirit, or your heart, your feelings, your instinct, your emotions. Here, your body feels. Your body feels. Your mind thinks, and that's intellect, and that's knowledge, that's calculations and thoughts, right? And so much of our education system and so on, we've been taught, you are what you think, you are what you think. Well, we are also what we feel, what we feel. And this is feelings and instinct and intuition. And if you've ever gone to school and they said, oh, go with your first answer, your first instinct, that's the right answer. Well, that's your body. And they do testing right now. It's called kinesiology, and where they muscle test your body, and your body doesn't lie. Your body tells the truth. And they say now that they've been able to figure that your body knows what's going to happen like 7 seconds before it really happens. I don't know if you've ever almost gotten in an accident or something and your body was already tuned in. It might not have been your mind, but something you could feel something's coming. And so that's the intuition and intellect and so on. And they call this actually feminine, and they call the masculine mind and the feminine heart. And so this is feminine and masculine. It's not like this has got a pair of boobs and this, doesn't. It has to do with
but
love and
actually,
kindness.
actually, Brian, it does. And seriously, it actually
Okay.
does because it shows up in the form of a vibration of a person, a gender that embodies these qualities. Dude, I love this whole freaking, it's not a concept. It's actually tapping into a space. And we, when I contacted you yesterday and I said, "Hey, you want to go on a date tomorrow night?"
Yeah,
And
always.
so this is when Brian and I have a date. We have a date to make an appointment. And I named this, I didn't ask you what you want to call it. I just felt New Earth. And we're leaning into that because we're being, quote, forced to. It's by our own volition. We made that choice a long time ago, obviously, because we're here now. But dude, I love your background. I love your black shirt. I always wear black.
You've got black on.
You're beaming, bro.
We look like Johnny Cash.
Yeah. What was that song? I fell into a burning ring of fire. In fact, I live right near Sun Studio.
Fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. I'm reminded of the history here every time
I
I
got to
just
work with
pass by.
Johnny a couple times, and his daughter Roseanne gave me her cat at one point. Actually, Rodney Krause gave me Roseanne's cat, but whatever. Roseanne didn't like the cat. All right, so here, spirit. Uh, that's the big deal. That's the big deal. And so we're actually in this weird time right now where everybody's being forced to quiet down and go inward. And when you go inward, you can listen to your spirit. You can quiet down that chatter, that monkey chatter, and all that noise you've got going on, and listen to your spirit. And what your spirit quite often does, it wants to learn a lesson and grow. So what's your, did we lose signal? We're fine? Okay.
No, you're good, my bro.
Okay. What your spirit often does is it's always seeking a lesson to learn and to grow. So sometimes your spirit goes, "Hey, Brian, do this stupid thing," right? Go do the stupid thing, and it the Hopi do this too. The Hopi uncles of all the children all say, "Yeah, oh yeah, go over to the edge and jump." And it's they don't want the kids to jump, but what they want the kids to do is have their own experience. Go to the edge and go, "Whoa, this is scary. I can't jump." You know, "Oh, I have to respect that." And so your spirit sometimes does the same thing too. "Hey, go date this person or go move to this area." And you end up having a bad experience. You're like, "Oh, I was so bad that I had this horrible experience." Well, enlightenment's not about having great experiences only. It's about learning how to adapt and grow through the bad ones. It's learning, because they say evolution, it's not that evolution favors those that run around all the monsters, because the monsters keep coming back and chasing after you anyway, and eventually come up from behind. You don't run around the monsters, you deal with the monster as it comes up. So when your spirit brings you a monster or a problem, crisis is an opportunity to learn and grow. So when your spirit brings you something rough to get through, it's an opportunity for you to change your habits, to learn, to grow, to evolve. And so evolution of humanity is us all working together to work through these problems. And these problems aren't solved typically by the same people or decisions that got us into these problems. You know, we have to look at what got us into a lot of these problems. And so, you know, right now, all the sickness going on, yeah, there's like 33 of the richest countries in the world. Out of those 33 richest countries in the world, 32 of them have universal health care. So, you know, how's it so hard? How did 32 other countries beat us to the punch? And some of them 50 years ago beat us to the punch. And now we're arguing, "Oh, we don't have money for universal health care," but yet in the last couple of days we're giving away $2 trillion, and a couple years ago we gave another $2 trillion away, but we don't have money for health care? Like, hello, you know, take care of us. And so, you know, taking care of the EPA and the CDC and you know, National Institute of Health, and, you know, the scientists, and, you know, that's how America actually became great, is to actually have the best scientists in the world. And that's how we attracted other people. It was great scientists, great education, great knowledge, great pathway to use that knowledge and get it to the world. And if we shut that down, scientists are going elsewhere to where it's easier to get their information to the world. You know, so we can't do that. We got to act right to be responsible as a nation. We have to, you know, look at what's caused the problems and not repeat it, you know? Yeah.
So this would be that means to that quote end. Would that be the goal as to why the spirit wants to grow, the spirit wants to evolve, as to why we come to lesson? Is there, do we need to at least swallow that bite of bread before we take another bite and move actually into the spirit? Is there a greater lesson meaning?
Well, when we look at the world, let's say, you're out in space on a satellite and you look down at the Earth, there's no borders, you know? This is where all the Muslims are, and this is where the Christians are, and this is where the Buddhists are, and there's little borders there. No. I mean, it's all just one world, one planet, and we all want the same things. If you look universally, it doesn't matter where you live or what's going on, you want the same things. You want, just like we were talking about the growth, you want the plants and the animals and the people, they all want the same thing. They want to make something and take care of it and have it grow and have it evolve and have its community. So and leave it alone for its generation. Everybody wants the growth, but really, as inside of that, we want the community, we want the culture, we want joy, we want dance, we want joy and happiness. So we're all seeking the same. We want our own foods and share our special little foods with everybody and make everybody happy and joy and believe in a higher spirit, and we call different things, like here we call this water, but other people call it agua or whatever else you call it. There's so many names for this, and God is the same way. There's a lot of different names for God, and we don't have to call God just Jesus and then hate everybody who doesn't believe that this is water. This is life.
That same mentality, nothing
Yeah.
against Christians.
Yeah.
I love
No,
Christianity.
I do too.
No, yeah,
I am a
that's
Christian.
but that same mentality applied everywhere all the time, be it this one or that one, toward the other, is why we find ourselves in a state of reset.
Yeah.
Because it's no longer about whether you white, black, green, polka dot, plaid, checkerboard, or be you Jew, Christian, Muslim, Islamic, Hindi. It's so beyond that.
Hmm.
And I don't think, Brian, I did a show 2 nights ago about prayer for the world. Prayer for the world is not, dear Lord, take this from me, make the virus go away. That's not correct.
No,
In
no.
fact, that we're no longer children of God. We're becoming the adolescents and moving into adulthood. And the only way we can do it is, instead of take this from me, to help me to understand what this illusion really is and move me through it quite nicely. That's prayer. That's taking responsibility. So the spirit, like you said, Big Daddy, that's what it's really all about, is really what we're wanting. Because as long as we say, Mom or Dad, make this thing go away, we're never going to be empowered as a young person growing up into their young adulthood to have a family and continue the lineage of rightness and balance. So I think that prayer, I love the idea of prayer. I loved being Catholic, so much so I was an altar boy and I wanted to become a Catholic priest. And so my dad at 15 said, Keith, here's an electric guitar. And so I love the idea of prayer. I love getting down on the knees. I love Catholicism, actually. It's a very participatory experience. It's not just listening, and that's cool too. But anyway, I think we need to get involved. So involved that it becomes prayer. And prayer for me is not take this from me, take this cup from me. Help me to drink from the cup so I can take in this manna, in this manner, and do what you're asking me to do. So, it's the same thing. It's not hard. People have made the path so dark by trying to illuminate it so much. I mean, you can turn on a light that's so bright it blinds people. In such a way, I think we've become so human that we lost sight of the beacon that says, check in with mom, dad, check in with cosmic mom, dad, what's happening? we just started liking the game too much.
You said, I think, and then at one part of your talk just now, and I want you to consider adding something that goes back to that mind, body, spirit, think, feel, believe. The belief is the spirit, the thinking is the mind, but the body is the feeling. So we're not listening to our spirit because we got so much mind chatter. Well, now we can take advantage of the little bit of silence we have right now and go inward. Because we can't go outward, let's go inward. Let's quiet our mind, the mind chatter, and listen to what your spirit really is saying. What are the opportunities for your spirit to learn and grow? And what's your spirit really want to do? And it's usually some level of service. So instead of, I think we should do things, listen to your heart too. What do you feel? And so maybe we ought to change our verbs, our words to be, I feel we should do this, and actually feel it. And so our spirit's got this belief, our body's got this feeling, and our mind's got the thought. Well, usually there's a feeling in the heart, and there's this belief up here, and the mind's the thing that's in the way. You got to mute that monkey mind and turn it off. Let that go to the side. Turn the monkey off and the chatter off, and then let your heart connect with God. And if you really listen to music, a lot of the greatest musicians do that. The saxophone players or any soloist, guitar soloist or whatever. They play these amazing solos. It's like, where did that come from? And they're like, I don't know. It came from God. They turned off their brain and they let it come through their heart. And so we can do this if we turn off the monkey mind chatter. So this 2, 3, 4 weeks, whatever this is an opportunity to listen. And so if there's a little place outside of your house and your little garden, you've got a little quiet place, maybe you could tell everybody in your household, when I'm sitting in that chair over in the garden, you leave me alone. That's my silent place. Or it could be in the back bedroom, or it could be whatever it is. You pick a spot. When I'm there, that's my quiet time. I don't need any interaction, no phone calls, let me have the silence and let me hear. And turn off that TV. Turn off the input of all that fear. And let's go to love and listen to what really is going on inside of your heart. And probably you're going to come up with some new solutions to some really magical things that you used to consider problems. They're actually an opportunity for you to grow. So we should welcome those problems and then learn a new pattern of how to address those problems. And boy, I mean, I've had some big lessons over the last year or two that, I'm 56 years old, so I've had these problems before. And 40 years ago, I had that problem. I'm done with that. And then here it popped up again 40 years later, and it shows up really big in my face again as like something I have to address and deal with. And it could be childhood patterns. And instead of resolving things in the way you did when you were 16 or 25 or 35, you have to resolve things from a new place. The next time around is the next opportunity to show up at that new spot. And so quite often, I think it was Muhammad Ali said, if you, at the age of 50, if you think the same way at the age of 50 that you used to at the age of 20, you just wasted 30 years of your life. So we need to evolve, and this is a great time to quiet our mind and really say, what are the patterns that no longer serve me? And how can I respond? Responsibility. How can I respond to them in a different way? Instead of rah, 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 argue, blame, and complain, I'm in fear. It's all your fault. Instead of that, maybe we can come from a new place. If someone's yelling at me, maybe the reason they're yelling at me is because they don't feel good about themselves. Maybe there's something inside of them. Maybe really what they really need isn't screamed at back, is what they really need is a hug, you know? They need love, they need a hug, they need listened to, they need understanding, they need cooperation, communication, you know? And so I'm sure you're doing this right now with your son and in such an amazing way. Do you have any stories for us about how that's worked out? And
I treat him very directly. I don't jack around. I say, bro, da da da, and I show him the opportunity, which is here are your choices, and you're playing in this field, which is okay. This is the result. It's not a good or bad, right, wrong, in, out, up, down, hot, cold, left, right, light, dark. The law is always in force. When you do the something you've already created, it's coming, and there's nothing you can do about it. So I bring that to him, but I allow him so much grace without getting in his ass, that when I need to get in his ass, he respects the call. My dad's trying to get to me because he cares. He's trying to get my attention as to why his being on point and so direct, he's trying to reach me because I trust him. I trust his guidance. And so I have such an amazing dynamic with this brilliant boy. He's quiet and he's funny and he's got a sense of humor. And I always say that you can tell someone's level of intellect, well, not intellect, but awakening and awareness by their humor. And it may seem superficial when he throws something out, but there's some layers in there. And so,
well, he's got your genes. Of course, he's going to have that. He was raised by you. Come on.
And so my time with him, and he is just coming into his own, and I'm just enjoying watching that flower unfold. Every once in a while, the flower gets a little overgrowth, or whatever, if you will, just being a dad. And I say, son, I'm just being your father. There's a reason I'm your dad. I'm your steward, but I'm just being your dad. So I explained to him that when I go into that mode, I'm being your dad. You would not want me to be that, would you? And he says, no. I said, listen to what I'm trying to tell you, dude. And he just concedes, and he doesn't feel overpowered. He just feels like, one, I trust, and two, it seems logical. He's a brain. He's a mathematician. And so he's living on that side of the energy, which is, he likes that scientific approach. He knows his dad's all about some God and some spirit, but he likes the science. He wants the hardcore, and it's lovely. It's just lovely.
So you said you give him attention. Where you place your attention and your intention, desire, intention, will, and destiny. So you have a desire to help him learn some new lesson. You have the intention, and you put your attention to him so that maybe his will make it happen. I will it to happen. And then that becomes destiny. And so you're collaborating on him on this, where you put your intention and attention. That's how you get the thing. So right now we have the ability to intend to do things, but in order to do that, you've got to put your attention on it and actually get off the couch and do it. I can intend to go clean out my sock drawer, but until I get off the couch and put my attention to it, it's not going to happen, And so many of us have these list of things to do. I've got them. These list of, these are my list of things to do, and you keep making the same list for 30 years. You don't ever really address it. Well, this is an amazing time for us to address all those things. Like let's really address some things. And I don't mean just repaint the bathroom. I mean, let's repaint right here. I dare everybody listening to this to challenge themselves mentally, to challenge themselves physically and spiritually. And so here's what I want you to do mentally. Let's read some books. Let's take in some joyous things. Let's listen to music that you used to love and sing along and dance. Did you forget how to dance? Did you forget how to sing along to your favorite songs? So let's challenge ourselves to then do some push-ups and some sit-ups and jumping jacks. You don't need a big fancy weight thing, and you can run in place or run around the block once or skip around the block. Lolly lolly la, skip. Have some fun. Go throw some frisbee with your dog. Have some fun. Get some joy going. Get some blood pumping. Get some air going. So physically, I want you to consider challenging yourself. Mentally, I want you to challenge yourself. Read. Take in some new joyous stuff, mentally. And then spiritually, quiet the monkey mind and listen. If you don't know how to meditate, call Keith. He'll help you.
No,
For real.
yeah, absolutely I will.
But I will too. It's actually quite simple. The real trick is turn off the monkey, and then listen. And there's a million ways of doing it. The way that I was taught that really, really, really works, I was taught by Deepak Chopra how to do transcendental meditation. And it's a big fancy word, transcendental meditation, but it's actually really cool. In Christianity, they talk about, and then there was this sound, let there be lights, but there was this, it started with a sound. Well, and you hear people say, oh, I chant. And what do you chant? Well, the word Om. What is Om? I've got a symbol over here I could bring to you, but it's this weird little symbol. What's Om? It looks Om. Well, Om is this universal symbol that actually has feeling behind. And when Deepak taught me, he said Om isn't just O-M. Om. It's the feeling behind that, the three feelings of you're a little baby and you ah, and you can feel and then like you've been hugged. Oh, that feels good. Oh, and then like you're eating. Yum, yee, yum, So oh, and Om. And so when you're singing Om, that vibration, you should feel the feeling of that. And if you connect to the feeling, once again, that's manifestation. It's not just think the thought. You've got to feel it. You got to feel it. And so dropping into the feeling is the real trick. Om, I'm smiling just from that. I can feel great. So then when you start to feel great, you can breathe. And then when you start to breathe and focus on your breath, Om becomes part of the breath. And that breath and the breathing turns off the monkey mind and the chatter. It opens up your heart. Your shoulders unclench. Your heart opens up. You get to connect. You get to breathe deep. Your mind, who's been starved for oxygen, finally gets some oxygen, and you can think right. And your thinking right isn't all the chatter. The monkey goes away. It's a calm little monkey, And then you can listen to the spirit. So part of that, transcendental meditation, one of the words, just 3 words, is Om. The first word is Om. Om. And then the second word is individual to you, according to where you were born on the planet and the time you were born in the day. It's the sound the earth was making at the time you were born. That's transcendental meditation, the second word. And the third word is Namal. I don't know what Namal means exactly. I might be totally off on this, but for me, this is how it feels to me. The second word is about me. It's my individual thing. So Om feels to me like the universe. Om is all, the world. That's universe, one song. Om, it's the universal sound. So that's the universe, the first word, Om. The second word is individual, to me. So the universe, then it goes to me, and Namal goes back out. It's like the blossoming again. And it comes back to the universe, then back to me, and then blossoms out. It's sort of like that cycle of life of like, you're a spirit, you get a body, and then you get to go back up to spirit and take what you've learned back to spirit. And you do this Om, and then whatever the second word is.
Brian, I don't mean to interrupt you. Abigail Inga from the chat room asked a very important question as to why I stepped on your toes. She asked the question, how do we find the second word?
Oh, transcendental meditation. There's plenty of teachers that'll teach that to you. Transcendental meditation. The Chopra Center will do it. Deepak Chopra's thing. You might find there's some Indian restaurant in your neighborhood, and there's some guy hanging out there that knows the local guy that'll help you out. Vedic astrologers and so on. I don't know. I mean, I was taught by Deepak and this one friend of mine, Corinne Champney in Nashville, Tennessee. You could call her. She's got a place called the House of Ivy House, the Ivy House, and in Nashville, Tennessee. So she teaches it, and she's an amazing teacher. She actually used to run the Chopra Center at one point in fact, not tomorrow, but Friday, I'm going to interview Deepak's partner, this guy named Roger Gabriel, who traveled with Deepak for years and he's a spiritual dude himself, and he's got this beautiful sense of humor. He's always cracking jokes, and he's such a clear vessel because he's like that innocent, beautiful, open-hearted thing. So on Friday, if you tune in to my website or whatever, you might see me doing the same thing, interviewing Roger, and maybe he'll teach us on there. Maybe I'll ask him. So join me on Friday. He told me, actually, you know what? I think I'm going to record it and not go live. I'll leave it up to him, but it'll be soon.
I just posted your contacts, your website, newways.com, as well as your YouTube channel.
Which is youtube.newways/newways.
Yeah, I put the actual link. Yeah. And so that way you can go check out Brian, as he just said that he was going to be pumping it out there. Brian, I'm having such a blast. I'm seeing a different side of you. I love this thing.
Well, so and then there's this. I mean, so these are the chakras. So when you go into meditation, when you're doing that transcendental meditation, you just bring up some words. Like here, this is the lowest chakra. It's like down underneath your, at the lowest part of your spine, and you just focus on that lower chakra. And there's a symbol that typically goes with that. I mean, this is a weird little set of symbols. Like this is usually that lower chakra. The next one up, and these are these ancient symbols that kind of go with each chakra, and so you focus on the chakra, and then you say these words, and then you just listen. So you say the word flexibility, and what might come up is how you are not flexible in your life, and that's at your root. Like, let's say a tree isn't flexible. Well, what happens is it snaps. A tree is infinitely flexible. It wants to move. It wants to sway in the wind. And if you really watch trees in the wind, it's like, oh, that's amazing that's able to bend like that. And
same with the bridge. Same with the high rise. If they don't sway, they will crack.
Oh, yeah. And so the next word's transformation, then coherence, and then stability. But up here, these are the ones we were talking about today. Desire, intention, will, and destiny. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So that's that. And that's the solar plexus right there at that little spot here. And then the next one up is actually these are really important to me right now. Really important to me right now, because I'm having the ability to desire new things. It's not that I want them. I desire. It's more like I listen to my spirit. What's my spirit want? Not my mind in my ego. My mind and my ego wants a huge castle and an island with a moat and alligators and that's my ego. But what's my spirit want? My spirit might want me to get rid of everything and get a loincloth and run around India. I don't know what my spirit wants, so I got to listen to my spirit, because your spirit will lead you to higher lessons of learning. And so your desire, intention, will, and destiny, that's that. But this is your heart chakra, this next one, peace, harmony, laughter, love. Peace, harmony, laughter, love. So here, let's just do this for a second. Let's all do this for a second. It's real simple. Let's just smile. Everybody smile. Smile with me. All right, you feel that? Do you feel that smile? Guess what happens with the smile?
It's contagious. I can't. In fact, I can't stop it. The more I try, the more I go fall.
Smiling is contagious. Laughter is contagious, but smile.
Right.
So every morning when I wake up, I smile. I just smile, and I sit there. I might have a million problems. It's the worst day of my life. All these problems are gonna hit me that day, but I don't care. I just smile, and so I sit and smile. And a goofy big smile. It's like, hey, so I'm laying there smiling, and at first it's like the faking the smile. I'm just faking the smile. This is stupid. This is stupid. But then after a while, it just shows up as the real smile. Eyes are squinting a little bit, and my heart unclenches. And then I start breathing. So I smile, and then I start breathing. Smile, breathe, relax. And you could feel all the heavies come off me. If I stay smiling and I just focus on my breath, I start breathing and smiling. And then all those heavies start going off your shoulders. Like your brain can only think of one thing at a time, yum or yuck. And if you're thinking of smiling and you're focused on smiling, you're thinking of yum. You're not thinking of your problems. You're thinking of like all the opportunities for growth and excitement, you know? So
do you think that this vision title, The New Earth, is because we've lost sight of that? We've lost, I mean, that, but also the fact that we're sitting at the house and chilling, that this is somewhat a reset to bring us back to that as a hopeful idea that, you know, we got lost in the current of nonsense.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I smile, I breathe, I relax, and then I let go. Let go. Yeah, let go of those heavies. They say angels fly because they take themselves lightly. So all that crap you're carrying around with you, all that fear you're carrying around with you and whatever, I'm not saying you can be stupid and go through life as an idiot. You know, you should learn and grow, and you should take this seriously. You know, you shouldn't, go licking the hand railings this time of year. You know, instead we should definitely take precautions. And that's why the isolations worked in other countries. And like in Japan and Hong Kong, they started off on the same trajectory, but because they got a lockdown, it leveled off and it's died out. But some places didn't take it seriously and it's gone through the roof. And we're probably, a couple weeks away from having some issues. So take things seriously. Let's be smart about everything, and calm down. Use this as that inner time, quiet time. Learn some new things. So much stuff on the internet that you can learn.
I follow Sadhguru. I trust him. I love him. I think he's a very beautiful soul, and I think he's very illumined. And he said, and he says, this is not a joke. He says, this has never happened in human history. There's been the Black Plague, and there's been this, and he said, this is potentially something that can kill millions of people. And he said, this is time not to be blaming and interrupting your process with more of the problem. He says, if we can survive through, and it wasn't like a dire prediction. He's just saying, heads up, this is not a joke. He said, if we got 6 to 8 months to move to this thing, even Swamiji, I got a message from Swamiji and said, Keith, post this presentation. He sat there for 10 minutes and he said why this happened. He did not go into blame. He said this exists, why it exists. We have been interrupting the 5 basic elements of the earth: air, water, fire, ether. We've been destroying it. And when one goes out of improper ratio, as he would say, it begins to flare itself up, and next thing you know, we're in a situation. And so this situation but Swami did comfortingly say that this one won't last long. It doesn't mean that we're out of the thick yet. The whole agenda of calamities is to create unity. So when we have unity, humanity, we come together as one cosmic family. there's no need for natural calamities. So they just go away. So this is the idea. This is the model. And Brian, I think the fact that we are being put in the house for a reason is, you know, divine mom and dad spanking us on our little hiney and says, you know, it's time for you guys to grow up a little bit. And, you know, we're going to put you in timeout.
I agree. I agree. So, I mean, I could go on and on about what's wrong with the world. I'm not going to try to make this very long, but when you watch the fear-based news, look at what it might be distracting you from. Like, look at the second layer or third layer of news that's getting covered up by this front layer of news that they're just shoving down your throat. And one of the things that passed in the United States was this 5G was signed into law just in the past
that scares
days.
me.
And it's something serious. It's a frequency. So what I know about humanity is, you know, we're a spirit that's got a body, and with the body and the spirit both, you are eternal energy. So I had a near-death experience when I was a kid, and I came back with some clear information, and the clearest information I had was the spirit part of me is eternal energy, and that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. That energy is eternal. And so when we talk about our eye for eye to see, our third eye is our connection to God, and it's that spiritual connection to all. And so when we have that spiritual connection, there's an energy within us. And then, you know, we talk about our mind. But if you ask any brain scientist where the word banana and where the color red and the number 4 is in your brain, it's not in there. It's not over here and then over here is that. No, back here's the memory of my first time I ate strawberry. It's not in there. That thing is more like a tuning. It's like a radio tuner. You tune the knobs. Well, your brain can tune into the energy that's out there. This energy is out there, and all energies. Water is hydrogen and oxygen. There's energy in here. Hydrogen, boo! Oxygen, the breath of life. If we want to look for life on other planets, we look for water on other planets. So water, air, oxygen, you know, fire is the sunshine, vitamin D. You know, that's one of the things you need to heal yourself in all ways, you know. So sunshine's the fire, water, air is the breath, and then earth is the minerals. So this computer you're talking to me on is minerals. It's made of minerals. There's crystals in it. You know, with time, with a watch, they say quartz locked. Well, there's crystals also in the thing. The crystals are what lock the time.
Back in the old TV days, Brian, when you had to get up and change the channel yourself, there were crystals that would allow you to tune into channel 2, click, channel 3, 4, click. So they're all crystals. So crystals hold information. We are of a crystalline nature, so we hold information. So it's a matter of whether our diamond is truly shining in that peanut butter jar or whether it's being chunked by the monkey.
So fire, water, air, and earth. And, you know, some also talk about ether, which is that, you know, if you look at the cell and then the atom, there's like, you know, they say 90% of that is hollow. It's empty energy. You know, they talk about dark energy and they have weird terms for things. I think we're just like cavemen right now. We're just now learning. If you think, you know, we just discovered electricity 120 or 130 years ago. We just got cars 120 or 30 years ago. Airplane flight, you know, 100 and some years ago. And so we finally have the internet now. Ooh, and everybody's got a cell phone. Ooh, information age, right? Well, all that crap that we were, you know, let's say 200 years ago, before we even had the steam thing, everybody was chopping wood and carrying water. Everybody had their garden in their backyard. And this was even true 50 years ago. But now we've gotten rid of the gardens in the backyard. We've gotten rid of our connection to earth. We're on the cell phone all the time, and we're not connecting to each other. People don't call me up anymore and talk to me, and I hear their voice and I can hear the frequency and the vibration from their voice. Instead, they text me. And then when I read it wrong, they get mad at me for reading it wrong. They're LOL, or whatever that means, laugh out loud or lots of love. I don't know. Were you making fun of me or were you loving me? I don't know. I don't know. There's so many. It's like, and then they think the texting is the thing. And so, we disconnect even further. And so this is an ability to disconnect, but it's also an ability for us to connect inward and start to appreciate each other in a different way. So when we start to connect again, we can connect from a new place of love and gratitude and understanding and compassion for each other and learning lessons and forgiveness. And so we can grow in the silent space. Yeah. And I'm hoping that that's true. So the energy can either be created or destroyed. We are that energy. So I'm hoping that this energy gets to raise in frequency. If you look at the astrology, it's ripe right now. Look at any YouTube astrologer that's really wise, and they'll tell you, wow, we are in a time like this window for the next 2 weeks of creativity. So let's take advantage of it. Why don't I dare you to write a song and record it on your laptop and send it to me and I'll mix it. I did that with a friend on 2 songs in the last 3 days, and they're amazing songs. And he said it's the best he's ever played, and it's because he's quiet. He's got nothing pulling at him, and the music's fantastic. And he lives in Nashville. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah.
Might be a great album idea for you, bro. Hey, artists, get a 10, 15, 12, whatever guys up there, girls, and just kind of celebrate this quiet, you call it quiet moment or whatever. Yeah. Brian, I'm so digging this, man. I'm loving the fact that it's giving me the opportunity to sit here and chat with you. I love your background. Love your beautiful cat that just came on the scene.
Oh, this is Cutie Kitty.
That's gorgeous, man.
Yeah, she's a Cutie Kitty. Oh, a little girl. She needs her daily petting. Yeah.
Right? I'm sure that lamp feels good to her, that salt lamp. They love salt lamps.
Oh,
the warmth, the ions, ionization.
Yeah, so we're in this frequency shift. And so the plants are feeling it, the animals are feeling it, everybody's feeling it, this shift in frequency up. And so as we, I told you about the Muhammad Ali, if you think the same way at the age of 50 as you did at the age of 20, you just wasted 30 years of your life. We have to shift frequency. And to do that, it might be that you start doing push-ups and sit-ups. And then you start feeling better, get the blood moving. And then what happens is that gets rid of some of the rustiness in your joints.
This is the same process you described earlier with the 3 points that influence each other. When you do this one thing, this one gets influenced.
And then the mind starts opening
up. It's a cycle, right?
And you change the physical. And then the feeling you start to feel young again and think young again. And all those old patterns start to move away. You start to see differently instead of, so many people hold it's like they're locked up. You can see it, they're locked up. They're just holding locked up. And no, this is the way we've always done things. Well, insanity is repeating the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And quite often, the same thing that we've done for 30 years or 50 years is bad behavior that got us in trouble, So when we start doing the physical, then the mental starts unlocking. And then when we unlock that, then we can finally listen to the spirit. You turn off the monkey mind chatter. I have so many people that say, oh, yeah, I've tried meditation once or twice. It doesn't work. Dude, it's a practice. I did yoga once, or it's a practice. It's like brushing your teeth or shooting free throws. Kobe Bryant, till the last game, he would still go out and practice free throws every day. All the greats. If you want to be great at anything, meditation is a practice. Brushing your teeth is a practice. your teeth will fall out, and so on. It's like we got to take care of ourselves. We're doing a new version of exercise. Like, I dare everybody listening to this to challenge themselves physically, mentally, and spiritually, to do some push-ups, to do some sit-ups. And like, so if you're going to watch TV, every 6 minutes there's commercials, like 3 minutes of commercials, right? 6 minutes of blah 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 TV, fear, fear, fear. Well, then start doing some push-ups and sit-ups. You got six 30-second commercials that go bang, bang, bang. So every 30 seconds you can do, how many push-ups can I do in 30 seconds? And maybe you do 12 the first time. And then the next 30 seconds, you do some sit-ups. How many sit-ups can I do in 30 seconds? And then you run in place, or you rest the third 30 seconds. And then maybe the fourth 30 seconds, you go back around again, or you do something else, some pull-ups, or jumping jacks, or maybe you tell yourself, go look in the mirror and tell yourself how beautiful you are and how fantastic you are, and say some positive because I am, whatever you put after I am fat, I am stupid, I am ugly. Well, if you believe that, well, then you are. But I am beautiful, then you become that. I am intelligent, I am kind, I am loving, and it changes your frequency. So, maybe that's part of your ritual. Mute the TV, mute that thing, turn it off. Unplug it, throw it in the trash, put it out in front with a free sign on it, But, watch Keith every night. That's what you should be doing. Right, Keith? Right?
Depends on how you watch me. I have a gap in my blinds, so I don't want you watching me there.
Okay.
No, I love it, Brian. You're so on point. I love your enthusiasm, your positivity, your insight. Your level of insight is just ridiculous. It's being around you reminds me of things I want to move in more of myself. I do the same thing differently, but I always love your spin, your take on it. And it reminds me of being around, for example, if you're a musician and you like being around solid musicians because it brings out the better in you. Then I like hanging around with Jeff Adams, who I played with for years, who was a bass player, Starship Survivor, and all these people. It's not about name dropping, I'm making a point. And so when I get the opportunity to play divinely and hang out with someone online, if you will, I get to feel that same camaraderie. But what I really liked what you said a minute ago is we have all these devices, and it's truly become a battle between the internet and the internet. We've lost touch with the actual internet soul provider, the true divine grid that connects us all internally. But instead, which I love Facebook, God bless Mark Zuckerberg, I ain't got nothing against the guy. I get to hang out in this moment because of. But we've lost sight in using social networking for togetherness, which is, it's a wonderful thing. We go out and socialize all the time because it's part of living your life and being a human being. But we've become so reliant upon it, we've lost sight of the internet, where we truly all connect cosmically, which creates a unity, which stops the nonsense in the world. Because when we understand namaskar and namaste, everyone we meet, we automatically find that jewel that I talked about earlier, which is, oh my God, God is shining through your dialect. God is shining through your eyes. Or you look very physically awesome. Or you have this really nice shirt on. And you begin to hyperfix and hyperfocus on that. And something else we begin to downgrade because of our internet surfing journey. We get on our inner Google. I'm looking for something in this person. And there it is. It's got my attention so wholeheartedly. Shh, don't talk to me right yet. I'm busy. I want to stay in this experience. I think we lost sight of the true internet soul provider. And I think the password to log in is responsibility, not react. Responsibility, love, compassion,
ability to respond.
And any of those words will get you, will log you on. And I think we've chosen many screen names, coming back to Earth many, many times. But we never really potentially protected ourselves from the hackers and the viruses. Ooh, the viruses and the hackers that always made us crash. I think this is a little reflective that now that we've signed onto the Earth Experience or the Earth website again, I took the screen name Keith Anthony Blanchard. I upgraded my account. Now it's Yanava. And so it's very analogous. I think we're at a point right now where we've downloaded some pretty nasty shit. And without blame, it's just a fact that we all have free will. But when does that free will begin to cost us? It begins to cost us when we go unconscious and take things for granted. Oh, I'm this peacock, and let me show you my feathers, and we prance around. And we got everything we want, but we want a little more. And I think we're getting checked. I think we're getting a body blow. A collective body blow. And I think it's a beautiful thing. And it's not a negative slant, Keith implying a negative affirmation. Shit, sometimes a smack across your head will do wonders. You can have a friend who is acting like a fool, and you love them so much, if you knew that slapping them across their face from your heart would save their life, you'd do it in a heartbeat. Why wouldn't you do it, right?
I did it one night to save a friend's life. He was trying to kill himself. And, always, it was nothing but love and compassion. And, there's two types of compassion, actual compassion and idiot compassion. And actual compassion is sometimes rude and harsh. Idiot compassion is enabling someone to remain in a dysfunctional place because you're just trying to be nice. But sometimes actual compassion is giving someone what they need. And, you can talk to their spirit first. And most people don't want to hear the spiritual things. And then you can talk to their mind and try to reason with them. And if that doesn't work, all you got left is the body. You talk to their spirit, you talk to their mind. That didn't work. Talk to and then slap them across the face. They're like, whoa, you're the spiritual guy. You just slapped me across the face. Yeah, because the other stuff wasn't working. And now that you're awake, I wasn't trying to hurt you. I was just trying to wake you up.
I think that is a true spiritualist because that's exactly how disease works. Yeah. So if you're a spiritualist, which means I'm operating in the light of the spirit, as to why anyone would be a said teacher, as to why I have to slap you in the face because I love you, hence the reason I'm giving you my attention in the first place to slap you across your metaphorical or real face. And so that's the way disease works, viruses works. That's how we allow infection to ourselves. We've allowed ourselves to become infected with non-truth. The way disease comes into manifestation is the spirit, as Brian said, is always imparting. In fact, it's your lifeline being connected. We lost sight of it. We can't hear it, but yet it's still giving us life. So when we have, over the course of our life, got steadfast on an erroneous idea, the spirit begins to send it in the form of intuition. If we don't get it, the spirit begins to send it in the form of deeper layers of thought, an imbalance. And then it begins to show up in feeling, be it anger or jealousy or insecurity. And then, believe it or not, what's happening in the world, called by any other name, is this discomfort you are feeling can no longer be ignored and or denied. So it shows up in the body. We call it cancer. We call it a virus. We call it a cold. We call it a broken arm. We call it a this and we call it a that. And so disease and illness always starts from the soul's level, the spirit's level, and says, hello, hello, hello. There's no longer a reason to deny it. You can't deny it because it's blatantly in our face. And so I thought that very analogous, Brian, as you were saying that, to what? I wouldn't say dealing with. I don't want to do a bad affirmation. That we are having the opportunity to see how we've been treating ourselves.
Crisis is an opportunity to learn and grow, right? Yeah. So you said a few words in there that were fantastic. Disease, dis-ease. Emotionally uneasiness is dis-ease. Disease, it leads. So if you're holding around, if you're hanging on to like all that anger and frustration and negativity and fear, it leads to uneasiness. That emotional uneasiness leads to disease. And then, we've got a disease society right now, don't we? Yeah. Like we're all living in fear and we're addicted to it. I mean, they'll show murder on TV, but they won't show lovemaking. All the movies are about violence and action violence and take you to the edge of your thing, but no love, no passion, no connection, no deep teaching you how to act right. And then, the reality TV, it always sensationalizes the dumbest of all, the idiots, the silliness, and so we end up with a society that's mimicking and thinking it's normal to act like, Honey Boo
They've
Boo, or,
set the tone.
yeah,
They've set the tone in the script and the law or the influence, and we just eat the Reese's peanut butter pieces on the ground. We just know we like Reese's peanut pieces
it's
on the
called
ground.
programming for a
Yeah.
reason. It programs you to start thinking that's normal, to act dysfunctional, and even the sporting things, the way people talk at sports a lot of times. Now I've seen some evolution of all that. Like it used to be basketball was a one-on-one, one-on-five sport. Like, one guy would dominate. But now you've got to have 10 guys. You've got to have 5 guys that go out and play as hard as they can for a while. And when they get tired, 5 new guys come in and play as hard as they can and then come back. You've got to have 10 great guys in basketball, and you have to pass the ball.
Yeah, because like you said, but there was a time in the past
Yeah.
when you can have a smoke and kill a team, and it doesn't matter if their rival team had one cat that was a gunslinger. He could walk on that court and walk around all those other 5 knuckleheads like it was nothing. That doesn't exist anymore. It truly doesn't. Even when I was growing up, Brian, playing basketball for Hark, home Louisiana, whatever, recreation, there was just one guy, they called him Doda. This boy can outplay not only our team, but everybody on his team. He just always had the basketball. For the whole game, it might have not been in his hand 5%.
Yeah.
It was just ridiculous. But like you're saying, we've evolved in so many different ways. And I hope that this is the opportunity that we can evolve. Either way, we're going to evolve. It may not be to our liking, and we are able to keep the meat suit, but we are going to evolve. And Brian, even in my last few presentations, no one wants to die prematurely. I don't have a problem with that. I've settled my piece with that. But what if the fact that where we are, that anyone is hearing this, is that what if this life, so I'm already planting the seed, there's no way around it. So what if in this life was not about the survival of the body, which everyone has the right to self-preservation, but what if in a deeper spiritual level that it was not about the survival of the body, but the expansion of the spirit? So if when that becomes first, I think all the greediness and this is mine, I'm going to get mine while I'm getting this good. So because death is inevitable. We're all, in fact, we are the zombie apocalypse. What is life if we're truly not living it while we're alive? And what is death when we're completely full? And are those two any different than each other?
So many people are the walking dead at the age of 25, and they get into these ruts. They go get a good job, or they go to college and they do what their mommy and daddy tell them to do, and then they go get a good job and they get married at a young age, and then they have these kids. And there's a lot of those people are the ones that are holding the world together, but a lot of them might dream of much greater things, and so they go through life unhappy, doing something that they really didn't like doing. It was just something that they were told makes a lot of money, so they ought to do that. So they started chasing money, and they did follow the rules of society and obeyed everything. But they really, inside, they're unhappy. There's something inside them that doesn't feel fulfilled because, they wanted to be a ballerina, or they wanted to be a rock star, or they wanted to be a painter, or they wanted to be something, a writer or something. Well, so now they're stuck inside. And so listen to your dreams. I mean, if you wanted to be a singer, maybe you ought to pick up the guitar again over these next couple of weeks. If you wanted, and start singing and see if it brings you joy. You don't have to be the best singer in the world. You just have to express a level of creativity. And so what happens is when you start to express that level of creativity, you get fulfilled. And it doesn't matter if you ever stand in front of anybody and play the guitar ever, if you want to be a guitar player. What matters is that you finally step up and start playing it for yourself, and that you start letting your voice go. And so
That's the new earth.
yeah,
That's
and
the
so
new earth. Everybody live in their joy.
yeah. And so once your voice starts opening up and you start singing, all of a sudden your voice starts getting bigger. And when you unlock these parts of your voice, and you get big, you know. I mean, you can hear it in people's voices. Oh, I feel great. No, you don't. I'm really great. No, you're not. It's like drop down, get your voice, get your tone, on bass or guitar, it's the tone that transmits the energy. And so if we can, I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to work on my voice right now. I'm listening to my own voice. Like, let me drop into a better voice, something that's more harmony. Instead of me forcing, information at you. Hey, listen to me. Uh, Instead, it might be welcoming. I bet you I can change my tone that's more welcoming and more like, hey, I love you in my voice. And so when you start playing your guitar and living from a higher level of spirit, your frequency shifts. And all of us are shifting because of the light of the sun. I mean, if you look at the Mayan calendar in 2012, well, it was really, I was told by astrologers then it might not be 2012, it might be 2020. Back then, 8 years ago, they were, or actually more like 12 or 15 years ago, they were talking, it might be 2020. Well, here we are in 2020, and the astrologers I'm listening to now say, this is it. This is the dawning of the ages of Aquarius. This is a bigger.
They thought what's happening now, they thought that was going to be 212, but it's not.
Yeah,
It's 220.
it's
Yeah.
this is too, yeah. And so what this is a chance for us to really listen and really connect to our spirit. And let's see if we can all unify, like you were saying, and come to a better understanding of what's good for all. When you read the Declaration of Independence, I dare anybody watching this to bring it up, the text of Declaration of Independence, and read it. If you read, the first paragraph's kind of goofy, but the second and third paragraph are amazing. It calls for us to institute a government that works for we the people, for all of us, for all of us. It doesn't call for a government that takes care of only the richest few and the billionaires. It says, and so for us to judge our society on how many billionaires we can create and say we're the richest country in the world just because we got 12 guys who've got all the money in the world, that's stupid. Because I live in LA here and we've got more homelessness than we've ever had by far. And it's sad because a lot of these people were you and I just 3 years ago. And now they're living in their car and because they can't afford rent anymore and they lost their job, their good job. And these are educated people. These are, I mean, a lot of them. I see young girls out there homeless. It's sad. Women, and then I see mentally ill patients, and then I see, worst of all, is veterans. 23 veterans per day commit suicide. 23 per day commit suicide. Let that sink in. That's massive. Commit suicide. We've lost more military personnel to suicide than we have to actual battle, to actual combat. And so, war is obsolete. It doesn't work for humanity. It's not good. And so, you and I have talked before, these four world problems. And for me, they're ecology. We're messing up Mother Earth. You said fire, water, and air and earth. We're messing up economy, that we're all enslaved to a dollar system that doesn't work for anybody. The fractional reserve banking and world, funds and the Rothschild World Bank and some other stuff. I mean, you look into all that, call it a conspiracy theory, but then look into it. And you'll probably be shocked at what we're enslaved to, this dollar system that is always infinite debt. And we treat ecology like it's infinite, that we've got infinite resources. Well, we've got a limited resources and then infinite debt. So it means everybody's greedy and seeking more money. I got more money, right? And so that ecology, economy, war is the other one. We got an economy that's based on war. Oh, let's war machines and we're making money off of this, right? It's insane behavior. And then the last one is personal preferences. I'm supposed to hate these people because they have different color skin or because they're from a different country and there's a little line in between us or because they believe in a different version of higher spirit. So I'm supposed to hate them? No. I mean, water is called water here or it's called agua. And I don't hate the people who drink agua. They're drinking water as life. God is God, you know? And so, you know, it's so weird that we create hatred. And so I think the world's sick and tired of being sick and tired. I think the people of the world all want the same things. And the people of the world want peace. They want security, they want peace. Now, if we have peace, we have security. And if you want to save the world or change the world, where do you change it? Do you change it by going out with a gun? No, you go inside. You go, if you want world peace, it starts right here, inside of each one of us. I've got to be at peace with myself. And if I'm at peace with myself, then I can be at peace with all my neighbors and all my relationships, all of them. And if I can be at peace with all my relationships, then I can be at peace with my town. And it's contagious. Like the big smile, that's contagious. Well, peace is contagious. When we're smiling and it's when we're at peace and we're at love, it's contagious. And so then suddenly your neighborhood's contagious. And then your town's contagious. And then the state and then the country. And so we can spread our own version of love and kindness and compassion.
Pope John Paul said, we will be victorious through love, not guns.
Yes.
Evil will always devour itself. It's a cancer. And cancer doesn't understand that the host it's invading, when it becomes too overwhelming, the very host will die, which creates its own demise. It doesn't understand that. That's called I am unconscious, because if the cancer and certain things understood that what it was doing would bring about its life or its death, it would make a choice accordingly. So same thing applies. So we will bring about love as a world through the very said principle, truth, reality, because it's like people having sex for birth control. It doesn't work. It's like trying to remain a virgin by having sex. You just can't do it. And so in order for us to have that unified world and a world of peace, then that obviously doesn't include dropping bombs which kill people and create separation. Brian, I have a late night date with an almost 15-year-old young man for a movie and a pizza.
All right. What kind of pizza?
Don't know yet. We make them here. We get these, because we're locked down. This little non-India bread, non-bread rounds.
Oh yeah, naan.
Naan, is that how you pronounce it?
I don't
Naan
know.
bread?
Naan.
They're about 5 inches in diameter. Boy, and I put some sauce on there and bell pepper chips and green onion, red onion, and just all this really cool stuff. And
well, I challenge you this. And one of your listeners will probably join me on this and give you a recipe for it. If you have flour and water, which you do, and a little baking soda, I believe, you can eventually learn how to make your own dough. And I think it's really simple, like salt and some other things. I've never done it, but my friends that make their own pizzas make their own dough, and it's so good. And so ask all your listeners, if anybody's got any ideas for him to make his own dough, teach him how to make his own dough, and then show him on video and send it to him or whatever. I challenge anybody to get creative and teach him how to do that, and teach me too. Send it to me. I want to learn how to make dough and make pizza dough or make my bread or whatever, or naan bread. I think we can do that too. I think it's actually pretty reasonably easy. Let's do it. Let's challenge yourself while we're locked in to learn some new things, right?
I love it, Brian. Thank you for joining me. We're going to do this again soon, bro. What else we have?
Good.
Too much time on my hands.
No, it's not too much. No, go inside.
Right. Go inside.
Get your creative juices going, because I know you got it. Let's do some projects.
I had a friend of mine offer something up today via social media. He says, I'm challenging my artist friends. Right now, you should be coming up with your best work. Your best work. One, because the world's quiet and you're forced to do it, so to speak. But also about the songs. A lot of beautiful songs came out of pain, death, suffering, and all these other human models. But if we can look at what's happening in the world, what's happening, before you and I got into the green room, someone sent me, I'm not really a police kind of guy. I don't diss the blue. I love the blue, but I don't lean into that way. And someone sent me a post on social media, this police officer riding in his cruiser, singing what sounded like to be a karaoke track of Tom Petty song. I want to name the song because it's so worthy of it. In fact, I'm going to take this time to find that song. One moment, everybody. I want to see what the name of that song. It's so freaking. In fact, I'm going to grab the link. It's so cool that I want to stop and grab the freaking link. That's how
we
cool
can beat this thing, America, together.
I'm going to let you watch this on your own time, audience. Tom Petty's I Won't Back Down. And this guy, Brian, this guy can sing like it ain't nobody's business. He is truly a singer, and he's very inspiring. He's a motivator.
So I'm going to send you a drum beat in the next 48 hours, just a raw drum beat. And I want you to do this. I want you to put it up, and we'll loop it for like 10 minutes and not think anything. Just like grab your guitar and play a sequence of like 8 chords. They can repeat every 3 or 4 chords or whatever you want to do. Just do a loop and repeat those chords. And you can just copy and paste whatever you want to do and then play bass to that. And just see where it goes and then send it back to me. Okay? Will you do it?
Absolutely. I would love to do it. So my way to plug into the internet is USB. I don't have an XL or a port, but I have a mic. It's a decent mic. It's it's perfect. And so I'll mic and amp. I'll play guitar. I'll play the bass and whatever little ideas. I will not overthink it. I'll just get in here and play. Grab the chord that comes to me, and I'll just play a rhythm, and I'll loop it after I feel I got a groove. And, first take.
Send it back to me, and I'll edit it, and we'll see where it goes from there. And then
I'll do that first thing tomorrow. You bet. Okay. Brian, thank you for joining me, being with us. We appreciate your insight, your presence, your wisdom. Your ass whoopings. That's where wisdom comes from. Wisdom comes from getting your little hiney spanked. And in fact, I want to read this as we exit. Let me find this. And I think it goes along with sort of, this entire theme. I'm looking for it.
Give me a second then. Smile, breathe, relax, and let go. Smile, breathe, relax, and let go. Smile, breathe, relax, and let go. Just keep repeating that when you wake up in the morning and see where it takes you. And see the fake smile? Look here, Keith. Look here. You're smiling. Looking. Look here. It's contagious, isn't
it? Yeah. And then everybody else gets going off as well.
Yeah. But let's do this. Let's make this the new norm. Like the new habit should be here. Raise your frequency to that. Instead of fear, you get that, So let's go to happiness, Let's be childlike again.
So is that where our crow's feet come from? Just always being squinting and hunkered down and holding on and clamming on and stuff?
No, it's more like that thing up here. That's the...
Yeah. What do they call that?
I don't know. I don't know what that guy is.
Yeah. Right. Brian, thank you. Let me read this on the way out. I'll get your thoughts.
All right.
This is something I wrote last year. It's called Come, See, Reflect. I think this is where we are. Come, see, reflect. You want information? I've got tons of it, probably more than you'll ever need. You want knowledge? I'll tell you what changed me. You want wisdom? I'll tell you my life story. You want the truth and a miracle? Look in the mirror. Just be quiet. Look at what you see. Is it what you think you see, or is it something greater? And as Brian so poetically mentioned earlier, If you don't feel your experience, you're dead already. What is the point of living life while you're alive if you're walking death? That's truly the zombie apocalypse. People walking around unconsciously existing versus living life fully. And I can give you information. I can give you wisdom. I can give you knowledge. But I can't give you, Brian, no one can give any of us anything until we approach the garden gate ourselves. And I think at the garden gate, the key is responsibility, love, kindness, understanding. We have to understand the whole plan. How do we get from the foothills of the mountain to the top of the mountain? It's not a straight line. You could be dancing around rocks. You're going to be going through rivers and rapids and bitten by mosquitoes and run away from bears. Do you want to champion the mountain is what the question becomes. And Brian, I think we've been thrown into a wilderness. So we can find our way again out. Not, dear Lord, take me out of the wilderness, but be the light to guide me so I can find my way out. And hence we become the prophecy of heaven on earth. And I think this is happening. I don't think Spirit intended this world, this race to fail. It becomes a question of who. There are no chosen few. The chosen are those who choose to listen with all their heart and follow with all their might, all their will, that Yah that lives in everybody, and use your Na to discern what you think is the highest possible outcome for you when you choose, and stand erect within yourself. Be it a quadriplegic, paraplegic, just stand up somehow inside of yourself for something that means everything. It could be Jesus. It could be Buddha. It could be your child. It could be something that you truly hold as a treasure because you like being of service. Whatever it is. Beauty is beauty, and there's no level of beauty that's above or below any level of beauty. It's whatever it is you deem as beautiful actually in your purview is what God is to you. That's why it becomes beautiful for you, because that's your calling. It's saying, I am your light. Hence I'm beautiful. That's why certain flowers smell better to certain people than other certain people. Because everybody has their own take on reality, truth, and that which is truly beautiful. And so I think we're all lost sight of how we can treat each other in such a beautiful way. We become very disrespectful. We're blaming countries who have nothing to do with the bullshit nonsense that old men send young men off to do. We need to get out of blaming those old men and realize the young men made their choice, knowing that these consequences could unfold. This applies not only to military, this applies to your life is a battleground, is it not? We're constantly battling, and I don't mean we're efforting and fighting. We want to fight as spiritual people. But there is a challenge that's happening within each and every person. One side wants to be right, while the other side wants to be right. And guess what? They're both right and they're both wrong. And they want to go at each other and blame each other instead of becoming a unified ally in their humility to create a greater beautiful possibility for a mutual cause. And because of, I think that's where we are all finding ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I love you, bro.
I love you. That was beautiful. I loved how you said that.
Thank you.
That was fantastic. So I hope you have a fantastic night here, and I hope everybody gets their creativity on. I don't consider this any longer a quarantine. I consider it an artist in residence. So all that list of things to do that you've got going on for 30 years or 20 years or 10 years or even 1 year, start checking them off. Let's start desire, intention, will, and destiny. Let's start looking at what brings you joy, and let's start doing more of that. Find your quiet space in the backyard, and tell everybody in your household, when I'm in that little space or that chair, don't mess with me. I'm just gonna. That's when my inner time. I'm gonna, outer space. No, well, I'm gonna go to inner space. And I'm gonna, you can't go outside, so might as well go inside. And so let's find that little place inside of you to fulfill those needs and desires and wishes and dreams, and then start feeling the feeling. Instead of thinking it, let's feel it too. Feel the feeling of your success and your joy. Get that smile, breathe, relax, and let go going, and You know, we're all going to be
Desire, intention, will,
Will.
and destiny.
Yeah.
You know what? There's a cadence in there. You can make a song out of it. Desire, intention, will, destiny. Desire, intention, will, destiny. There's your song, Brian. We can create a repeating a loop, soundbite. Desire, intention, will,
Well,
destiny.
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven.
All
Thy
right.
kingdom, yeah. That's
What
it.
a great cadence that is.
Yeah, and then your heart chakra is the next one: peace, harmony, laughter, love. And then the next one's your throat chakra. All this is really important to me. This is what's going on now for me. I'm to clear my desires, be clear on my desires, clear in my intention. I've got to actually get off the couch and do it, and then it becomes destiny. And then peace, harmony, laughter, love. That keeps my heart open. And then the last one is my throat chakra. And opens up, this is my creativity, my affluence. There's your money, abundance, money and stuff, and discernment. And what happens is affluence and abundance isn't only money, it's actually realizing you have a lot to give the world. You're abundant of creativity and joy and things to give the world. So when your creativity opens up, you can hear it in your voice. Hey, no, I feel great. Oh, I'm doing good. So I hope the next time you call me and say, how you doing? I go, yeah, I don't talk like this. Instead, I'm like, hey, yeah, I'm doing great. Maybe my voice drops an octave. It would be incredible. So drop your voice, get relaxed, Yeah, get at ease. Yeah. And then, it goes on. But then if you look into the Kabbalah, same thing, except for instead of 7 chakras, some of them split off into 2, and it's really cool. So there's always more to learn. Life is like juggling. You can always add another ball. So
I love that. Brian, thank you,
learn.
bro. I love you, bro. Everyone, I am going to drop links to Brian's website. Oops, that's not it. I'll drop it to you shortly. It has been dropped earlier tonight.
Yeah.
It's newways.com. New as in KNEW, ways, newways.com. You can see it in this forum. It's here. Just check out. There you go. Newways.com. Also, you can find him under the same name. Just go to YouTube and look up New Ways. Brian, on YouTube, is it one word? New Ways, no space?
Yeah, New Ways, one word. Yeah. YouTube.
And it's Brian David Hardin.
New Ways.
Brian, I love you, bro. Thank you.
Love you. Ta-da!
I really enjoyed my time with you, sir. I really like the dynamic, the vibe.
Well, we'll do it again soon.
I hope so. God bless you, my bro. Everyone, Keith Anthony Blanchard here hanging out with my bro Ham Sandwich. Mr. Brian David Hardin, record producer, movie maker, spiritual teacher, and my dear friend. Keith Anthony Blanchard here. I'm probably going to take tomorrow night off and spend some time with my boy. Do a bunch of dad boy stuff. Someone said that the local school is going to kick off again in April 7th. I like that idea. Same time I don't. That world's dead. And my condolences. In fact, I hope it is. I hope that we learn, absorb, observe, perspect, truly see. Not just want to get back in the workforce so much that we lose sight of this diamond in the peanut butter jar that reflects to us our own clarity. Diamond, clarity. And we become the gem so that we can all shine brilliantly. There is no other way. Listen to me very carefully. There is no other way out of this conundrum except to see the brilliance of yourself, your fellow man, and this beautiful blue marble that is behind me in this background. Until we do that, the joke, the divine comedy will forever be on us. I'm tired of being made fun of by myself. You are loved beyond measure. Peace, love, and light.